In this video, we'll be taking a look at Cad Bane again for the Black Series 6-inch line. So I just reviewed the 3 3/4 inch action figures of him previously from the Clone Wars animated line. And now we're finally getting down to the last of the Clone Wars Cad Bane figures. And this one's really impressive. Interesting story about this actually. Back in 2015 or 16 when Hasbro did the fan vote for the next Black Series action figure. It was 2015 actually, I think it was April or May at that time. I voted for Cad Bane as my choice, and I think that may have been the one that Darth Revan won eventually. But Cad Bane's the one I picked at the time. I didn't think Cad Bane would ever get produced as a Black Series action figure, because at that time that's when we were transitioning into the sequel trilogy, and I figured at this point we're probably never going to see characters like Cad Bane ever again, let alone in any media. It's interesting they showed up in the Book of Boba Fett series. I figure after the Clone Wars we would never really see much of him ever again, because Lucasfilm has a bad habit of that, introducing really interesting characters that people want to know more about, and then they end up casting them aside and we never see them ever again, really. A good example of that's like Dirge. Sure, he shows up in a couple comics here and there, but I think it'd be interesting to see Dirge in a live action show, or even more of him from the Clone Wars series, and we never even saw it in the Dave Filoni series. And I figured Cad Bane would end up getting the same treatment eventually, but fortunately he didn't. And then it was about, when was it, 2019 or 20 at this point, and we finally got Cad Bane in the 6-inch line, and he's a very impressive action figure. I think he's spot on, and arguably the best Cad Bane that we've gotten, even compared to the 3 3/4 inch action figures. And we'll talk more about why that is here in a little bit. So one more thing I'll mention, I actually didn't get this initially when he came out. I was holding off for the exclusive that came with the Total 360, which is, it's the same as that Cad Bane action figure, just with Toto included. And if you recall, at the time, Hasbro just put him up for sale on their site, and he was gone within a few minutes, and nobody had any prior knowledge of it, really, unless you were in the know, that is. So, unfortunately, I missed out on him. I was hoping to get him, and he never came back in stock, and I wasn't going to get on eBay and spend $100 for it. So I just ended up settling for the single release, which is just as fine as well. Have no regrets. Well, before we look closer at the figure, I will show what he looks like in the package here. This is actually one of the few carded Black Series action figures I own. And most of the reason why I have this one is I think I ended up buying this one here off of Amazon, and he just happened to be up for a good price. And then I realized I had this one up for pre-order on Entertainment Earth, and I just let the order go through, and then it was like, well, now I have two Cad Banes. I think he looks pretty good in the card. And this was one of the first action figures in this particular packaging, before they did away with the plastic window and then went to some different material for the plastic. It looks pretty good in the card. Nice and yellow. Nice image of Cad Bane there. Description of him. It's Clone Wars figure number 6. And we'll just go ahead and take a closer look at Cad Bane himself. So as you can see, really nice sculpting work in the face there. And in his clothing, Really like that belt he has. It's a nice texturing detail. You can tell it looks like leather. You can't take his hat off. Nice expression he has. Definitely looks like a Duros. So his trench coat here is entirely in plastic. It does have a slit down the middle there to allow for more flexibility. As far as this hat's concerned, it does have a leathery look to it. Looks really nice. And it does fit on his head pretty good. You have to get it on a certain way in order for it to really stay into place, otherwise it's kind of loose and wobbly. And neat thing you can do is you can position him where it's like he's looking down, and you can only see his mouth. Has that old western feel to him. Does have his breathing tubes there. Nice detailing. And he has his pouch, which is a separate accessory that you can take off. And he has his jet propulsions there on his boots. Which look pretty good. They kind of look like you can rotate them around a little bit. Yeah. So you can work with that a little bit if you so choose. So in terms of the articulation, he does have a, I want to say he kind of has a double joint at the head there. So he's got a joint at the base of his neck, and the collar there, as you can see, it moves a little bit. And then of course on his actual neck, there's some articulation as well, so double joint in his neck basically. It does have a joint at the shoulder. Mine's a little ratchety. He has a elbow joint, and thankfully the tubes around his elbows there aren't too much of a hindrance. He does have wrist joints as well, and they both go up and down, which is perfectly fine. Has a torso joint, about mid-torso, and he does have hinged hips, and a swivel thigh, and hinged knees, and rocker ankles as well. And this was during the time when Hasbro was kind of getting away from the pins in the knees there, so he doesn't have that. Joints are kind of stiff on this. Looks pretty good. Bit of range of motion. In terms of weapons and accessories, besides his hat and the pouch here, there's really just not a whole lot to say about it. He does have his two pistols. Like always, he does not have a rifle like the 3 3/4 inch figure does, the original. And he looks really good. I just happen to have one of the 3 3/4 inch samples here. We'll see how they look side by side. And as you can see, there is a big difference between the two. I think the paint is much more vibrant on the Black Series blasters. Definitely a difference in size. And they fit really good in his holster there, as you can see. And they also fit nicely in his hand. And you can put his index finger around the trigger there. And you can get some nice poses with it. Something like that. And we'll just go ahead and bring what I would assume, or what I would say is his closest 3 3/4 inch counterpart. Very similar. They look really good together. But man, I think at this point I've pretty much told you everything about the Clone Wars Cad Bane that's possible between the 3 3/4 inch figures and the Black Series figure. I don't have any of the Book of Boba Fett ones so far. I don't know if I'll get them. I'm honestly not that crazy about them. I think Cad Bane kind of looks a little off, and I don't really like the style of his hat. It's a lot different compared to what he had in the Clone Wars, but we'll see. Plus, I don't want to spend, what is it, 20 almost for the TBC figure, and then almost 30 for the Black Series figure. Getting kind of ridiculous, and I think at this point I pretty much have enough Cad Banes in my collection. I wouldn't mind getting a Hot Toys Clone Wars Cad Bane. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen. There is a Book of Boba Fett one, but I don't think I'll end up getting that one for Hot Toys. So would I recommend the Black Series Cad Bane for your collection? I would. It's a very solid action figure. I think it's still kind of in circulation every now and then. Maybe not on Entertainment Earth, but maybe you can get on sites like Amazon and eBay, of course. And you might be able to find it for a decent price. And I think even now the exclusive with the Total 360, I think I've seen that price go down significantly on that too last I checked. I'm still not going to get it. I don't need a third Black Series Cad Bane just for Toto. Maybe if I see Toto by himself on eBay at some point for a decent price, I'll go ahead and get him. But there's no rush on it. Not much of a priority. But still, this is a nice action figure. Might be able to find it for a good deal. And even if you're not much of a Black Series collector, I still would recommend it. He's really nice. So anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will be lots more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate your support. And check out the links in the description as well. Thanks for watching.